Hey guys, good morning. It's Saturday the 6th. I'm talking a little bit low. I apologize because I was blessed yesterday to meet this nice couple, a family that invited me to stay with them, but they're still sleeping. It's pretty early here, Arizona time. But a few things I want to talk about. One is my connectivity is still pretty terrible, so I don't know when you're going to get this video. I will upload it as soon as I can for the morning video for the 6th. Um, a recap of our high school football teams that PTT has adopted. Crestview from Convoy, Ohio, won again last night pretty handily. Um, Also in Ohio is our Ontario team. They just got edged out again for the second week in a row, a heartbreaker. So they lost yesterday. I think it was 16-13, maybe the final, something close to it was like a 2 or 3 point game. And conversely, Triton from Bourbon, Indiana, won a close one, 14-12. So we were 2-1 yesterday as a group, and Ontario's really coming around and playing tough games. So sometimes you got to learn how to lose before you can step up. So they're really developing a lot of character with that. Triton keeps fighting and fighting, and Crestview, I believe, only has one loss so far this year. So they're well on their way to what I hope is the state playoffs. So I'll keep you guys updated with that. Um, Yesterday, I spent the day in Winslow, and I got to post some pictures. And it's just funny how uh, these things seem to work and happen for me. It's been, it hasn't, the first part of this journey, I was meeting a lot of families and spending time with them and getting to know them and the kids, and part of the story was just happening. Then I took on a different version when I hit Missouri, and I spent a lot of time with people, but the nights, for the most part, I wasn't with families as much as I was in motels and things like that. And then I hit past Oklahoma City, and it's been probably less um, involvement or engagement with people, but still, I've had those opportunities. And so yesterday, uh, I had a choice of trying to go from Winslow and get halfway up to Flagstaff with someone to tell me about a car show that was going to be down at Winslow. So I took the opportunity, thinking there might be people there, to stick around Winslow and see the car show, which was some amazingly beautiful old cars. And it's always funny, car people are so passionate about their cars. It's great. But I stayed around town till dark, but I didn't have a place in mind last night to stay. Even if I tried to get a motel somewhere, everything was booked because of the car show. So I had a little bit of a dilemma, and it gets real dark real quick out here. So it's about 7:30, and I was starting to head out of town. Figured I'd just start walking, and when I couldn't go any further, I'd just call it a night. Um, and something told me that I've had terrible connectivity in that town with my T-Mobile. But early in the day, I sat at this restaurant that had Wi-Fi, and I know there was some playoff baseball games last night, and I said, you know what, let me head back there so I can at least let people know I'm okay, and get some updates posted to the site. So I stopped back at this little restaurant called Bojo's. Um, One of the bartenders is 82 years old. She's hysterical. Mary's her name. So um, I was there, and then only about 15 minutes later, did Aaron and Christy walk in. He said, "Hey, are these seats taken?" No, I was just sitting in the corner. I take my bags and try to stay out of people's way. And we just started talking, and young couple. Uh, he's 30, been married 10 years, 3 kids. Um, really good people, and as fate would have it, their kids are with their grandparents this weekend, and they're like, "Hey, we got a guest room, man. Come on back with us." So um, they were kind enough. They actually, this is kind of the funny part. They weren't there for the car show. Um, they went there because the food's pretty decent, but it's a 20-mile drive. They live in a town called Joseph City, which is a town I walked through on the way from. It's escaping me now. Where was I just 2 nights ago? Anyway, I walked through Joseph City on the way to Winslow, and so they live 20 miles back this way. But they're like, no, we'll drop you back off here tomorrow morning. Come back and sleep in the house. Certainly be sleeping outside, and we'll bring you back in the morning. I go, but we are late risers, so that's fine. I just, again, it's a whole lot more value in talking to folks and meeting these people and getting them to become part of their lives and having them become part of the PTT family. So, um, but the takeaway, so there was this kind of, again, fate, God intervention that just made me, I was like 3 blocks past it, and I just could have kept going, but I turned around and came back and met with them. Great young couple, been through a lot. One of the more fascinating stories is one of their children, I'm not sure if it was their oldest or not, but Christy actually gave birth on the highway, um, going to the hospital. Her mother-in-law was driving, and she actually gave birth and caught her own child in the passenger seat of the car. So there's a story that I had never heard before. But it's funny. Sometimes you see a relationship that just clicks, and you know, I'm a believer when it comes to relationships that it's not always 50-50. I know my guy Dr. Phil says it's 100-100, but I think every relationship, there's a giver and a taker. I just always, you can't have two givers, you can't have two takers. Um, it's just relationships click, and I've met so many people on this journey where I've seen that firsthand, and this is kind of the same way. Aaron, I don't know all that well, but a terrific guy, very devout. The one thing I'll say about the both of them is very devout, and that's the one takeaway I want to share with you guys. But I was just really enjoying the dynamic between the two. Seems like Christy is the more, grounded and the steadying influence, where Aaron is not manic and wild, but he just has his boyish side that he wants to let go a little bit, and they just connect. Like I said, last night he wanted to have a few beers, and so you go ahead, babe. I'll drive, and no complaints, no, you know, uh, having to watch what you say or do. It's just the way they connected is just really uh, interesting and enjoyable to watch. I love watching when people connect and click, and you don't have um, frustration or jealousy or anger or things beneath the surface when it just flows. And I noticed a lot of that, and maybe that's because of their shared belief in God. And I remember Aubrey, who I met back in Amarillo, young, 22 years old, but had mentioned, how, God had been removed from so many things. And in her own parents' case, it was um, the influence that her parents had is what kept them together through the tough times, because they had something to lean on. And there's some truth in that, I think. I'm not here to try to recruit anybody to the religious side, but I've seen too many times that when there's a little bump in the road of a relationship, there's too many other avenues to go out and seek to find somebody to agree with you and say, no, I understand. And sometimes those avenues aren't the best avenues. Those people have agendas or things like that. So it was really nice to be invited, to have these folks say, hey, come on back, crash at our place, we'll bring you back in the morning, and extend themselves to me. But the other thing that was really, I really got my eyes open to for the first time, I've been going to service while I've been out on the journey, and I hadn't been to church for many, many, many years. And I was raised Catholic, and honestly, my perception of what church was like back in the day was drudgery. It was, um, singing, and it wasn't even singing. It was these hymns and choral and up and down and up and down, and kind of not engaging, but kind of preaching towards you, I guess. And since I've been going to service, what's been really interesting to me is seeing how music has become such a big part of the church atmosphere at these churches of Christ that I've been going to. And I think that I'm looking at my kids' standpoint, I think will be such a wonderful thing when I get back and when we go. And then that's what was going on last night. I ask questions. You may have heard me ask some questions about movies and about vacations, and I always ask about best concert. And when I asked them the question about the best concert they've ever been to, they both in stereo said this group called Skillet. I never heard of them, so they were playing it for me, and it was this Christian rock, and um, it blew me away as to how. So I could never have thought about it. It would probably have been sacrilege if back in my day, if somebody had a group that sounded like a heavy metal band to some degree, maybe not heavy metal, but a rock band playing Christian music, it probably would have been looked down upon. But I guess that's how things evolve. And the talent in the music. I mean, if you take the lyrics out, it was as good as anything you hear on the radio. It's just that the lyrics are more spiritual and God-based than anything else. But terrific music. There was a couple of groups they had me listening to, and we just sat there and talked and got to know each other. And that was my takeaway: is the way music has, I won't say infiltrated, but music has become such a big part of the Sunday services, and how the Christian rock has, I know there's its own genre right now, and it has been for many years. But it's not all slow. I mean, it's some really, quite frankly, some kick-ass stuff. So it was music that I want to share with my family, and again, if that's what it takes to help young people get into the church and find their way to God and Jesus, I think it's great. So the music, just sitting back and being exposed to music that I'd never heard before, much like I did just earlier in the week. Holbrook, that's where I left. Thank you, Holbrook. It was in Holbrook, walked through St. Joe City, and then on to Winslow. Anyway, so that was my takeaway. And then the other part of it is when you speak to people that have belief in faith, I found that there's really two kinds. There's the belief in faith of what's the word I want to look for? There's kind of a very myopic view in belief in faith, and that was kind of one of my reasons for getting away from organized religion for a long time, because it's one of these, what we believe is right and what everybody else believes is wrong, and that does still exist. But then there's the folks that have belief in faith that are well versed in other religions, other beliefs, and there's kind of an intellectual part of it that is kind of neat, because I confess I don't know enough about any one religion to say right or wrong. I just know that I believe that, and it was one of the things we talked about yesterday on the drive home. And those of you that are new to me, you may have heard this before if you've been following me from the get-go, but if you're new to me, one of the things that I look for little adages, and I live my life by little mantras. One of them, of course, is point the thumb, not the finger. But I remember on day 2 of my journey, a little Mennonite fellow pulled over. His name was Henry, to speak to me for a little bit. And he gave me a peach and some crackers and a little book of scripture. And we talked for a little bit. And one of the things he said to me has stuck in my head. And I guess maybe it was his way of combating people that don't believe in God or want to believe in science or whatever. He said, for all of our scientists and technology and education, we've never been able to manufacture a blade of grass, and it's always stuck with me a little bit. And I shared it last night, and they were like, yeah, it's really pretty cool. And I plan on sharing it with my kids and so forth. So anyway, guys, I'm safe today. A young lady reached out to me, a woman in Winslow that I'm going to probably talk to today, trying to get the Flagstaff. Bob and Sue down in Phoenix are going to come up and get me. I need to confirm with them. They mentioned originally Monday afternoon, but then yesterday they posted something about see you tomorrow, Sunday. They'll see you Sunday, I think. So I need to confirm that. But anyway, I'm safe. I need a shower badly, but I'm safe. I'm dry. I'm trying to talk low. I love you guys. I'm not sure when this will post. This is Saturday morning's video. Stay tuned for the next few weeks. All right. I love you guys. Thanks for supporting.